Guys, I want to go and do another talk, and I want to do a talk about something that's really important. Okay, I don't know if any of you have heard, but the Islamists in Syria have done a recent blitzkrieg that has taken them to capturing half of Aleppo and threatening the Assad regime. And you've got all these Western liberal media outlets, ladies and gentlemen, that are all celebrating this because Assad, you know, is an ally of Putin. And so this is something that they're celebrating because they think that this helps the Western cause, and they don't like Assad, and for good reasons. Assad ain't exactly a saint. You know, he's guilty for the deaths of thousands upon thousands of his own citizens. He's not a good guy. But, ladies and gentlemen, I want to be clear. I want to be clear. It's all right, just ignore her. Just block her out. The best thing to do is just block her out. Don't let her in. Anyway, guys, so I'll speak up a bit. The reality is that the leader of this Idlib Islamist movement is a former Al-Qaeda operative who broke with Al-Qaeda. Do you think that this man who was in the networks of Al-Qaeda is just going to throw away his Islamist ideology? No. The Western media is celebrating an Islamist insurgency because of their idiocy, because of their stupidity and naivety, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why these Islamists have been able to make the advance that they have been able to do is because Assad's allies are weak. Israel has smashed Hezbollah, thanks be to God, and may the Maronite Christians liberate Lebanon from Hezbollah. But Russia has withdrawn soldiers' support and resources because of its war in Ukraine. These Islamists, as they entered into Aleppo, have already started persecuting Christians inside of Aleppo, tearing down Christian decorations, forbidding public expressions of Christianity. Make no mistake about it, these might not be Al-Qaeda Islamists, but they are Islamists nonetheless. And Putin is more interested in killing Orthodox Christians than he is in defending them. He's more interested in his actual God, Mother Russia, than he is in the God of Russians, Jesus Christ. Because if he loved Jesus Christ, he would be using his resources and his power to defend Christians in Armenia, defend Christians in Syria. He would have, after the Cold War, when he came to power, have worked to try and build a confederacy of Orthodox nations united by common Christianity, rather than planning for 20 odd years for the destruction of his neighboring countries to re-expand along the lines of the Soviet Union. The BBC and other lamestream media are hiding to you the fact that this movement in Syria is an Islamist movement, and they're celebrating it. You should call them out. You should call them out upon their persecution of Christians. Put your hand up if you are a Christian. Thanks be to God. As Christians, we've got to unite. As Christians, we have got to organize. As Christians, we have got to start dealing with the causes of the persecution of Christians, rather than just trying to deal with the consequences of the persecution of Christians. The causes of the persecution of Christians in North Syria and in Aleppo are the Islamist movements. Those Islamist movements need to be destroyed. And we as Christians must do all that we can legally to bring about their destruction, so that the brothers and sisters in Syria can live free. If that means arguing that our government should work with the Assad regime to destroy the Islamists, so be it. If that means pushing our nation states to directly intervene in the war, so be it. If that means arming and training the Christians in the Middle East to defend themselves, so be it. We as Christians need to think beyond the boundaries of the Barnabas Fund and Release International and Voice of the Martyrs and think of another organization that helps them. Christian Concern, so that we are helping persecuted Christians to deal with the causes of persecution, not merely addressing the consequences of persecution. We need to think differently. We're dealing in band-aids rather than cures. We're dealing, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, in remedies, not solutions. The Middle East needs a Christian country. It needs maybe even more than one Christian country, or it needs for Christians to have autonomous regions in the Middle East. Lebanon, the world should and the church should work actively to make Lebanon a Christian country. The Christian church should work actively to make the Nineveh Plains an autonomous Christian region. The Valley of the Christians should be an autonomous Christian region. That Gaza should be a Christian enclave. It's only when we start thinking radically that we start finding solutions to the problems that we face as Christians.
Make Turkey Constantinople again.
Amen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, right now the Kurdish Peshmerga are one of the few functioning fighting forces against the Islamists. I want to be clear, in other parts of Kurdish regions, the Kurds are persecuting Christians. But right now in Aleppo, the Kurds are the only force stopping the Christians from coming under the sway of the Islamists. We should be advocating for an independent Kurdistan, one that we aid and support, one that is a bulwark against Islamists, but one that it is conditional upon it supporting the idea of Christian states in Lebanon, autonomous regions in the Nineveh Plain. Our help to the Kurds must be conditional on them not persecuting Christians themselves.
He's behind you.
Yeah, lock him in, guys.
He's behind you. Oh,
Close in. Keep him out. Sorry, sister, it's all right. Just keep him blocked out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to recognize that the Kurds at this moment are strategically useful, tactically useful, and we should be helping the Kurds. And I have a message for all the Kurds that might watch this.
Okay.
How many Muslims are advocating for a Kurdish state? Here I am, a Christian, talking openly about setting up a Kurdish state. Ask yourself, Muslim Kurds, who's persecuting and killing you? Muslim Turks, an Islamist government in Constantinople, in Ankara, under Erdogan. Who's all speaking up for you and advocating for you? Christians are doing so, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to ask you, Kurds, why not stab the Turks in the heart by becoming Christians, ladies and gentlemen?
Kurds are not just in Turkey, though. They're spread across Iraq and Iran.
Exactly, there should be a Kurdish state, but it has to be a Kurdish state that supports Christians in the Middle East. And now I'll finish before you ask questions. And my point is to the Kurds, here are Christians speaking up for you and Christians helping you, whilst all your Muslim brothers in Iraq and Turkey and Syria are killing you and denying your rights. So why not stab your enemies in the heart and become Christians en masse? Now, ladies and gentlemen, my point is this. If we can arm the Ukrainians, why can't we arm the Christians of the Middle East? Why can't we arm the Maronite Christians? Why can't we arm the Syrian Christians? Why can't we arm the Christians of the Nineveh Plain? Why? Whenever we want to, we break the law internationally. We did so in Kosovo. When we broke Kosovo off from Serbia, we set a trajectory that points directly to the Ukraine. Well, why can't we help create Christian countries in the Middle East? Finally, no, 2 final points and then I'll take questions. We as Christian people must find a legitimate way legally to create an international Christian defense force. It can be done legally, it should be done legally, and so we've got to find a way to do it legally. Furthermore, Turkey, ladies and gentlemen, Turkey is a pariah state. It is an Islamist state under an Islamist government, and we need to call it out for what it is. Turkey needs to be kicked out of NATO. Turkey needs to suffer economic sanctions. Turkey needs to be treated as the pariah state that it is and suffer sanctions and isolation for its support for Islamists and for its involvement in the genocide against Christians in Armenia, in Cyprus, and in Syria and Iraq when it helped ISIS. Turkey is a fifth column in the West. It is an enemy. It is an enemy. It is an enemy of the West. It is an enemy of the West. And we should oppose Turkey as an enemy of the West.
That's right.